Hi, Doug Franklin with you from LeaderTrex. We're talking leadership journeys. And today we're going to talk about a really important topic in student leadership development. And it's this: responsibility versus leadership. And I know that many of you have a heart to develop leaders and you want to develop students as leaders. But I think there's something happening in our leadership teams that we really need to talk about, because some of our student leadership teams are actually responsibility teams. And what I mean by this is that they're appointed with responsibility that you've given them as sort of the adult leader. It kind of goes like this. You say to a group of students, hey, I'd love for you guys to come and do some leadership with us this afternoon. I want you to set up the chairs for a youth group. Now, I want to set up in a half moon with 3 sections, 15 chairs in each section, and I need it done by 6 o'clock. You see, when we give out leadership like that, we're actually just giving out responsibility. How we would actually turn that same scenario into leadership is something like this. We'd say to students, okay, students, tonight our theme is togetherness, being unified, being a team together. We're going to kick everything off at 6 o'clock. I need you guys to come at 5:35, whenever you want, and you set up the chairs whatever way you want to make it work for our theme tonight. And we would share our values and our theme, and we would release them to vision what they would want to do on this chair setup. And that's the difference between responsibility and leadership. Responsibility is appointed. You're told what to do. Leadership is you're actually allowed to vision what you want to see happen. Now, when you give students the chance to vision something, oftentimes they get pretty scared because they have to be decisive. They have to make the decision. They might say something like this to you, okay, how do you want it to look? And you say, I don't know, it's up to you, you decide. They might say, no, come on, we're really, what do you want? And you're going to have to be really willing to say, nope, you decide. So here's the hard part of responsibility versus leadership. They're going to set up the chairs the way that they want to set up the chairs. And it may not be the way you want to. And it may actually be not the best way to do it. It actually may be a mess, and it may be a number of different things. But if you're willing to sit down with them afterwards and actually process and do teachable moments with them, you can actually turn every leadership activity into a learning activity for them so that they can grow as leaders. Think of it this way. If you did the responsibility way and you told them how to set up the chairs and they set them up, what would they actually learn? How to set up chairs? We're not in this to do set up chair learning. We're in this to do leadership learning. And so even though it's messy, even though it may not be exactly what you want, maybe you'll even have to rework some things that evening in your programming. It might have a high cost to it. What your students can actually learn can be much more powerful when you give them leadership. Now, this is a simple way of thinking about it, but you can take this to a much deeper level. Say you've put some students in charge of an aspect of the missions trip. Maybe you've given them vision for the VBS that they're going to do with a group of kids in the inner city. And you're going to allow them to come up with the plan for the whole VBS. And you're going to allow them to come up with the activities, the games, the crafts, everything that you're going to do. Man, it's scary, isn't it? It's high risk. But what they'll learn in the process, what they'll learn about themselves, what they'll learn about leadership could be huge. It'll be a lot cheaper and a lot easier if you come up with a plan and tell them what to do. But at the end of the day, all you're going to have is students who are participants in the ministry, not leaders of the ministry. And the question we've got to ask ourselves is, the leadership program that we have today, is it a responsibility program or is it a true leadership program? Before you do this, you may actually have to sit down with your students and do some teaching on vision. You have to maybe do some teaching on decision making and risk taking and communication. But all of those things will benefit your students in some incredible ways. Do you have a responsibility team or do you have a leadership team? This is a great question for you guys to talk over as adults as you are on this leadership journey with your students.